Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this final presentation of the Capstones. I started this year supervising the Capstones, but I'm no longer, but I guess that everybody wants me to talk. So again, it's a great pleasure to have you here. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the presentations because I didn't catch up with you in the last semester. I was not teaching Capstone. It's always an important moment for us all, not only the MHEI and the MIT students, because it's your graduation. Again, I know many of you already have jobs and placements, so I wish you the best luck in whatever you're going. Unfortunately, it seems that Portugal is still not capable of retaining most of our students, but again, I don't think this is our problem or your problem. It's the problem of the country and of the companies. Like I just told the journalists. And again, I wish you the best of luck. I'm looking forward to seeing the results of the projects, and I hope to see you somewhere, someplace. And thank you, everybody. I would also like to thank Simon and Valentina because they were the ones supervising the Capstone, and Monshu who did it for the EDC project. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jamal Batista. I'm the Vice Director for Research for University of Madeira. I'd like to, first of all, to greet Dr. António Lucas, which is here in representation of the Regional Secretary of Education. Also to greet the President of the Madeira Interactive Technology Institute, Professor Nunes Macala, and also to give you a word on behalf of the Director, which unfortunately could not be here today present. But I'd like to give you a few words, probably not as good as the ones you are going to give us, although you are constrained in terms of time, as I am aware, 2 minutes time. So I'd like to tell you that this is a great honor for us to have you here, because this is the culmination of an interesting process. It's the capstone, the last stone that you are putting in the formation of this house. I'm sure you're going to build a lot of houses in the future, and I'm sure you're going to put a lot of capstones also in those houses. And one thing that I'd like to ask you is, because you have been spending the time here with us, that you can now become our next future ambassadors from the University of Madeira, from our region, and so that you can also give out your words, your experience, and that we can attract as much students in the future as possible. Having said that, and for sure, having spent more than 2 minutes, I'm very eager to see your presentation. This is my second time, and I've been witnessing these moments, so I'm very eager to witness those 2 minutes madness presentation. Thank you.
I can also do it if you want.
Thank you. So, good afternoon, everyone. We are Team Firecrest. This is our team. I will present the next presentation. So, our client this semester is Civil Protection of Madeira. Their main mission is not only to help people during stress situations, but also to manage the rescue team in the field. So, our project this semester was about levadas. Levadas were old irrigation systems for farmers. And nowadays, they are touristic hotspots. And they are literally our image here in this island. And we want to keep them safe. So what we did was, what we did, we want to keep them safe. So I'm going to present you a small promo video of what we have been doing over this semester. So I hope you enjoyed it. This is our website if you want to learn more about our project. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Team Frontier, I would like to welcome you all to the Capstone project final presentation. Almost a year ago, we started our journey to understand and address the problems of citizen developers. And you might have two questions at this moment. Who are citizen developers and what are their problems? So citizen developers are basically business professionals who have expertise in different business domains, but they do not have a lot of expertise in programming or coding or creating applications. And what are their problems? And their problem is that these people have a lot of ideas to solve small problems in their business domains, which can expedite their process and expedite their workflow. But since they do not have the skill set, they have to rely on their IT development, which usually takes 6 months or more than that to develop an application. And there's a lot of back and forth communication, a lot of time invested, a lot of money invested, which makes the entire process really cumbersome. So what's the solution? The solution was our client OutSystem already has a product, a development environment that helps people to create applications. But it was designed keeping IT professionals or programmers in mind. And our citizen developers find it really difficult to use it. So what we thought, let's take this existing product and redesign it for citizen developers. And to do that, we adopted a really traditional HCI process, which was divided into 2 phases, research and design. So during the first phase of research, we took a holistic look at the existing product, that is the Service Studio. We studied in and out of all of the application. We looked at our competitors in the market and how other people or other companies are solving the same problems, what are they doing, right and wrong. And then we also had a look at the research space where a lot of innovation has already been done in the domain of end-user programming. From all that research, we found insights and guidelines, and we formulated an idea that would actually help us to redesign this application for citizen developers. And as we moved into the design iterations, which are basically cyclic process, and each cycle had a design phase where we took our ideas, refined them, and made them into different types of prototypes, some low fidelity and some high fidelity. And finally, we tested our design ideas with actual end users to validate are we going in the right direction or not. And by the end of the 3 iterations, we were able to come up with a design that was simple, intuitive, and usable. We tested it with citizen developers to see if they are able to use it, are they able to execute their ideas and create their application easily. And it seems they are. And we will share more about our project in the forthcoming presentation, and we'll also have a demo of our design during the coffee break. And thanks for joining us again.
Hello, everyone. Sorry. It's just an icebreaker. So I'm Alejandro, I'm from Team Spark, and I'm going to give a quick rundown of our Capstone presentation. If you're interested, you're going to be able to play with the mobile app that we came up with in our design and during the demos, and also I'm going to explain more about the process later in the big presentation. So we're sponsored by Well Systems. It's a small software house based here in Madeira. They have they do attractive installations. They are responsible for award-winning apps on the App Store, and we're proud to be sponsored by them. And they came up with this idea of developing a social application where people could learn about themselves, they could be inspired towards positive activities, and they could express their feelings and experiences to others. All in mind, what they had in mind was to foster well-being for people through the use of a mobile application. So we went through a research process during the semester from January to May. We read research papers, we engaged in different types of research in the HCI field, and we came up with an idea that is to promote promote engagement of people using daily challenges. And I'm going to explain the concept definition, how we came up with this concept, and our design process, which involved using paper prototypes at first, and then 2 rounds of interactive prototypes that we tested, which showed to people so that they gave us the feedback that we needed to improve it. The concept is the application encourages people to do 1 challenge per day that takes people slightly out of their comfort zones, where people can see entries from the past, they can see entries from other participants, and they can participate in the creation and voting of challenges for the future. And this is a small peek of what the app looks like. And that's it for now. If you're curious, feel free to join us for the demos and the future presentation. Thank you.
So let's do, yeah, just a little stop. So we would like to, this was the first part with all the madness presentations, and we'll be having now the full presentation. We'd like to have you all here, but if someone wants to leave, mainly the people that are very busy, you are free to leave. Okay, but let's start with the full presentation.
Hello again. So we are Team Firecrest. To those who do not know what a Firecrest is, it's a traditional bird in Madeira called Biche Biche. This is our team. So we have Guilherme, who's our 3D artist and video editor. Rui Trindade, who's one of the co-producers and animator and sound designers. Paul Bala, our programmer and concept artist. Sandoli, creative director and graphic designer, and me, Luis, also one of the co-producers, 3D artist and sound designer of this group. So our client, like I said previously, is Civil Protection of Madeira, and their main mission is not only to protect people from catastrophic events but also to manage a team in the field. So our project is Levadas. They were all irrigation systems for farmers, and they are now hotspots for tourists. However, there have been accidents. We had at least, according to our research, 117 accidents from 2012 to 2014. So our client came to us to find a solution to raise awareness to tourists and locals while doing a levada. And now I'm going to present a small video of what we have been doing over the semester.
We are Team Firecrest, a Masters of Entertainment Technology Capstone project for the fall of 2014, and our client for this semester is the Civil Protection of Madeira. Our goal was to raise the awareness of tourists and locals about possible dangerous situations in pedestrian crossings and help to prevent them. And for that, we created a safety campaign containing 4 deliverables: an animation video, an interactive video, pamphlets, and a website with all the information.
Starting with animation, we created a 3-minute video showing a tourist traveling to Madeira and hiking while displaying the beautiful landscapes around, and at the same time, demonstrating the proper equipment that should be taken to the trails, among other safety tips. We finished the animation by showing that it only takes a moment to have an accident. We photo, created an animated 3D character, and then combined it with real footage. This way, we could show the beauty of Madeira while providing useful information at the same time.
For our interactive animation video, we would use some of the animation clips and add new interactive scenes in a point-and-click interface. Users can reinforce their knowledge about safety by exploring interactive scenes. We created 3D realistic environments, and we used our main character in order to maintain consistency in video.
Besides the video and the interactive part, we also made a website where all the content can be accessed and where we can deliver more information. We also made a pamphlet with some of the tips so that they can be distributed through several traditional channels such as kiosks, hotels, airports, and more.
And so, with all this information available, we hope that tourists and locals learn how to better prepare themselves for a trip in a fun way, how to act accordingly, and how to respond in case of mishaps, facilitating the rescue efforts of our client, Civil Protection of Madeira.
So I'm going to talk about a brief overview of our presentation today, and we'll start with the research, our primary deliverables, our secondary deliverables, and the postmortem, which are lessons learned from these projects.
So starting with the research, we started with the primary research, and we did some levadas because they were related to our project. We visited the civil protection facilities, and we also conducted some interviews for tourists, locals, amongst others, such as kiosks and guides, for example. And we also conducted secondary research, and we researched about hiking and safety apps, and also safety media and tourism in Malacca. So after this research, we identified the different stakeholders and the relation between them. And after this, we came up with 3 personas. Personas are a fictional representation of our target audience. And so we come up with the guides, the tourists, and the local. And we decided to go with the tourists because Levada's accidents mostly happen with tourists. And we also thought that we would have a bigger impact targeting tourists. So we did a safety campaign this semester, and for that we delivered a safety video, an interactive video, and a pamphlet and websites. And now we are going to start with the safety video, and I'm going to show you our final animation. Enjoy.
How can I help you?
So as you could see, we have a mixture of real footage and 3D assets. And we, since we are the first MET Capstone project to create an animation, and since this is an uncommon way of doing animation, we'll guide you through our process of how we did the animation. So we started with the story, and we brainstormed and iterated a lot. And we come up with a tough grandma that visits Madeira for the first time and goes hiking. But is she prepared for the walk, or will tragedy ensue? So we moved on with the storyboard, which is like a visual narrative of the plan that we had for the story. And as you can see, we followed accurately our storyboard. She starts in her house, and then she sees a show on TV showing Levas in Madeira, and she decides to come to Madeira. And then she goes hiking, and then she goes through several obstacles, and then she has an accident and calls 112, which is the European emergency number. So at the same time, we started sketching, we started doing the concept art for our main character. We tried to explore the best style for our main character for the animation. And we ended up with this sketch here that you can see. And we also defined the clothes and the colors. And now Rui is going to talk about the transition to the 3D model.
Thank you. So, given the concept art that we made, we started developing the 3D character using Autodesk 3ds Max, which is a 3D editing software. And at this stage, it's very important to define everything as correctly as possible. So the anatomy has to be very precise, so we don't come into problems while working over the course of the project. And the first iteration we had of the character is this, as you can see. She has kind of wide hips and a light color scheme. But then after iterating a bit more, we ended up with this version. So now she has smaller hips and also more bright or colorful color scheme for the clothes, so she doesn't blend too much with the background of the forest. After we defined the 3D character, we started with what's called the rigging. And this is the process of adding a virtual skeleton, as you can see here on the side, to our 3D character. After adding the different bones and joints, we also added control points, which are represented by the circles and the red and yellow control points on the character. This allows us to move the different body parts with a lot of ease. We also did the same thing for the face. We wanted her to be a tough grandma, but those are not piercings, unfortunately. They are control points as well. And we did that so that we can move little areas of the face, so we can achieve a wide variety of motion and emotion, as you can see represented on these images. Since the final video is a mix between real footage and animation, we had to go ourselves to different levadas to film the different clips. So we went to 4 different levadas and we filmed about 340 short clips, which we later categorized and did a selection of the best ones that we could use for the final video. After that process was done, we moved on to what's called the motion tracking. This is what allows us to put the character inside the video, virtually inside the video. So we take the clips we film and we put them in After Effects, which is a video editing software. And as you can see here, there are tiny little dots all over the video, which serve as reference points. And as the video goes along, those reference points will always stay close to the object they are referenced to. For example, if there's a stone, the reference point will move all along. In the end, this helps us create a virtual 3D environment. And after we do that, we simply place the character on that virtual environment. And as you can see on the left side, we moved some of the control points to make her stand on that pose. And on the image on the right side is the final image that we save after we did the animation. Also, this part was the most intensive bit of our project, and it took over 1.5 months of iterating and animating over the around 46 clips that we had to make the whole video. After we did that, we went to the process of masking, which is basically just hiding her behind different objects such as rocks and branches as well. So to wrap it all up, we take the clip we filmed and put it in After Effects. There, we do the motion tracking and also save the video as an image sequence. And then we send both of those components into Autodesk Maya, which is another 3D editing software. There, we place the character, we do the animation, we take care of the lighting so it matches with the video background. And once that is finished, we simply take the character and send it back to After Effects where we can save the final video. And now I'm going to pass it over to Paulo so he can talk about interactive.
Thank you. So our second deliverable is interactive video. We did this because we felt that it was necessary for people to put themselves in the role of a hiker and practice their safety knowledge. So we're going to see a little bit, a short clip of the interactive video. So throughout the different scenes, she's prompted to do certain actions that relate to safety advice tips. So we're mixing the animation that we did with the interactive video in a way that is compatible in sense of the style. So to do something that is relatable, we started doing the concept art of the different scenes. And then we moved into Maya and Mudbox to our two 3D modeling applications to do realistic renders of the environments. During this process, we dealt with technical details like fluid simulation to create realistic water in Levadas. And we also used photos that we took during the Levadas to create realistic textures. So all this process resulted in several high-quality renders, as you can see here and here. So we had these high-quality renders, but we cannot use them in the interactive video because we wanted the application to be lightweight and it could be run on the browser. So we needed to come up with a way to limit that. So we're using a simplified model of the scene, and we're using transparent materials that reflect shadow only. So we're mixing that simplified model with the main character and the high quality renders in the back. So the character is literally walking on air or walking around in a picture. So summing up the interactive video pipeline, we start off with the high quality 3D model, and then we extract high quality renders and a low quality, which means low quality 3D model. And then we mix all those elements in Unity, our game engine, to create a look that is compatible with the interactive, the animated video. So Sandra is going to talk about our deliverables.
Thank you. Our secondary delivery included promotional material for our safety campaign. For example, we created a pamphlet to be distributed to hotels, to tourism kiosks, airports, and others. We also created a website as an entryway to a whole experience. Here, the user can actually visualize the animation video, can test their knowledge on the interaction video, and can also find more information in regards to the safety on pedestrian walks that will complement the information found on the pamphlet. Since we were reaching the end of our semester, it was very important for us to evaluate our project and also to think about lessons learned. So we had our soft openings about 3 weeks ago. Soft openings is an event that's open to the whole community, that you can come to our project room and you can explore our work process. Our feedback was very good because the people, the visitors, they like our character, they like our aesthetics, they like the aesthetics of the actual interaction video and also the animation video. They like the conjunction between real footage and also with 3D model. Lessons learned. We learned that it's very, very important to keep in constant contact with our clients because since we want to make them happy, if they want us to make any change, we have to know early on so we don't compromise our deadlines. We also learned new skills that we hadn't explored before, as my colleagues already mentioned, like masking, motion tracking, also using 3D objects on Photoshop to texture, and also body face rigging. So, sorry. Also, observation skills were crucial for this project because we had to observe body movement because we want the animation to be smooth and also believable. Deadline management also was another milestone that we had to be very careful because for each render of each scene takes a long time. So we had to calculate how long will it take the entire project to be ready, so we had to meet our deadline. We had to use two very good computers actually, working 15 days, 24-hour time. So to recapitulate, so for this semester, our delivery was a safety campaign that will include interactive video, an animation video, and also promotional material. All of this in pro of promoting safety pedestrian walks. If you want to find some more information, please visit our website. We want to thank all of these following people for their support. And we also want to thank you for being here with us today. We are open now for questions. Thank you.
So for the motion tracking, you said you used After Effects. Do you have to manually click the features, or does it select automatically?
So in After Effects, we use a plugin that allows us to scan the videos automatically and select the best points. But if we want, we can also go and manually select the different reference points. Also, another thing is that when it creates automatic reference points, many of them end up not being used as well as we wanted them to be. So there might be some error on the reference points. So if we use them manually or select them manually, we have more precision as well.
I actually have a question because I don't know actually if I prefer the simple version. Because I just out of coincidence, I met Kunali, and he told me that there was a problem with the character, and I was curious. What was the problem and how did you solve it?
Yes, as you could see on the beginning of the presentation when we showed our character, maybe for the first iteration, she had wider hips, and although we followed our sketches, when we presented them to our clients, they thought maybe the hips could be a bit smaller, so it doesn't look so exaggerated. See, here's the difference between the first version and the second version. Although it's very perceptible, they are small.
But so it was solved.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, actually we had a slight hiccup because the way we wanted it to be solved, or at least the correct way, would be to go back to the original 3D file and then do all the modifications from scratch. But that would have taken us over 2 or 3 weeks of work. But fortunately, we found out another solution that's maybe not the best possible way, but allowed us to have good results in a very fast time. So in about 1 or 2 days, we managed to correct everything.
Second question, I have actually 2 more quick questions. Second question was that did you got some inspiration from the TAP movie?
Yes, in the beginning of our semester, when we had a look at the different types of media, especially safety campaigns, one of the main ones we focused on was the TAP airline company video. because it allows the passengers to see the safety video in a fun and novel way.
My final question is, how many of you are from LBMI?
Yeah, 3.
And then one LEI and one art. But you are art from here, art and multimedia.
Design, yes.
Design.
They were all with the bachelor in that. Or bachelor in that.
Okay, good, very good work.
Thank you. Any more questions?
I was just wondering, are there any statistics about hazards related to levadas, or that you could rely on your videos, or you had to rely on your observations?
So we had access to some amount of data. I already showed it right at the beginning. Quickly there, that show us the amount of accidents that happen in levadas over the past couple of years. So we have data from 2012 to 2014. We wanted to access even more information, but the logs of this type of information was only, the recordings only started at this date. Although there are some statistics, they are not as solid as these ones.
We also looked at the journal entries and diary entries and blogs and that describe their experience in Nevadas, and also the interviews with mountain guides and tourists. And also we found a thesis that kind of described the tourists in Madeira and their experience with Nevadas.
Very nice work.
Thank you.
So yeah, congratulations. This is a really nice project, nice animations. I was curious because I see that you pay attention to a lot of details and why is Granny traveling in her slippers? You know, she's so well equipped.
Louis Vuitton slippers.
Yeah, because we wanted to keep the amount of actual 3D assets as low as possible. So we kind of reused the same model we used when she was at home. So in order to save time, we took the same model and used it on the remaining part of the image.
Questions?
Another question just to involve ticket from civil protection. Just like to congratulate you for the excellent work. It was lots of work, I know, because I was there from the beginning, and I know that you had to put up with some of the things that we had to ask you. But I think at the end, you guys did very well, and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Questions? No more questions?
Also, one quick thing, you can check out the interactive video later on the demo session.
So we'll be having now a coffee break and a demo session. So everyone will be able to see not only this project from MET, but also the other two projects that we presented after. Okay, so we'll be having a demo session and coffee break that will be on the left. You need to turn left here and then left again. Okay, thank you. And for instance, one more thing, we'll be back at 4.
I really want tutorials.
I read it on Sunday. She's from here. Yeah, I from here. I was born here and lived there and I was living here. So, but the process of the master they are only there. And I'm here because this person is only here. So, I'm here because of this person. Another option was to go to that one. I got the master because I got the president. But I'm not here to get cheaper than this.
Okay, so. Because no, yeah, I didn't.
Should we start?
I think they're already setting up.
Okay.
What are we streaming? The broadcast?
I think they're still fixing the camera.
But they are streaming it to where?
I'm not sure. Can we go? Okay.
Online.
Somewhere. YouTube, I guess. Yes. We got an email about that. Okay. Okay? Okay. Can I go? Yes. So, hi everyone, welcome. After our little coffee break. We are Team Frontier, and we've been working with OutSystems for the past 11 months. I'm going to quickly run you through our process and the outcomes of our project. First, I'll just introduce the team. This is Chris, and I'm Maria. To give you a little introduction, we're going to show you a video that gives you the perspective and the point of view of OutSystems for our project in general.
OutSystems is a company that is basically allowing users from the enterprise world to build and manage the applications they have divided.
Company is 13 years old. It started in 2001 in a garage here in the Lisbon suburbs, and then we're growing and growing. Right now we are almost 300 people.
We're very focused on the user experience, both on our development environment and on our applications.
So Service Studio is the platform's visual development environment. So it's what developers use to design their application.
So what we believe in is that the employees, the business users, or the citizen developers can actually start building their applications themselves. And only when such application becomes too complex, too difficult to develop more, it passes to value development.
A citizen developer is someone that isn't an expert in technology, in the sense like a developer or a software engineer is, but it is someone that already worked with computers, tools like Excel or software as a service tools like Salesforce, stuff like that.
So to target this citizen developer, it's very hard for us inside the R&D part to always be answering the real problems we have today and to evolve this product, and at the same time have this fresh view of the product and to really shift these products to that target.
And this particular type of user is very focused on usability and on user experience. So we realized very soon that the expertise with that is
So, this is the team we've been working with at OutSystems. It's the research and development team, and we've been working with both engineers and designers. So to guide us through this whole process, we created this guiding statement so we could have a clear goal in mind throughout this last 11 months. I'm just going to quickly read it out loud. We want to understand citizen developers' needs so that we can design an intuitive and usable development environment for them to create an application. At this point, I already spoke a couple of times about citizen developers. And to help you understand a little bit more who we've been designing for, I'm going to briefly talk about Luigi. So I'm already talked about his problem and who he is, but just to recap quickly, he's a senior finance manager and he's been doing this for a long time. He has this idea to create an application that will help him manage his company's expenses more easily. However, if he goes through the regular process and asks IT to develop this application, it can take a long time. Again, someone already mentioned it, maybe even more than 6 months. Who wants that? So he wants to be able to do it himself in a really quickly and efficient way. This is the current Service Studio, and since it's targeted at it's currently targeted to IT department of his company, he is not able to do it himself. There's a lot of, for example, technical jargon that he can't fully understand. The main problem areas for him are efficiency, intuitiveness, and information in language. We discovered this because we spent the first semester doing research. We looked at the current product, what that is Service Studio. The first thing that we did heuristic evaluation to understand how Service Studio is in terms of usability. So we compared it against standard usability parameters. We also did usability tests with end users so we could understand what their real problems were. We also looked at the research space where we looked into research papers and could fully understand what the learning barriers for citizen developers are and how to overcome them. One of our biggest findings in this bucket is that citizen developers are goal-driven. They're not necessarily looking to build an application just for the sake of having any application. They actually want to solve a problem that they have. The last bucket is the market space. So we needed to understand what's already out there in the market that solves this problem, that allows people without programming background to create an application. So we looked at 6 competitors, we analyzed their strengths and weaknesses, and how Service Studio fared against them. We also did some contextual inquiries with users similar to the citizen developer profile so we could understand their mental model. In this bucket, our main finding was that Service Studio is a really powerful and flexible tool. However, it lacks the simplicity and the easy learnability that other competitors have. So with all of this in mind, we knew that Service Studio needed to retain all the power that it has today, however, be simple enough that a person like Luigi would be able to just open it and start creating his application. The way we tackled our design process was that given all the research, the findings, and the guidelines that we had, we started creating some design ideas, followed by prototype and testing. We did this 3 times, iterating and flushing out with the insights that we got from the previous iteration. So since Service Studio is such a big platform, we needed a plan on how to tackle all this. So we split it up into some main areas and prioritize them so we could focus specific effort on what the user needs would be for each area. The main one and the first and foremost more important for us at the time was the canvas. So this is what you see is what you get interface where the user spends the most time. This is where the user will be able to actually create their application. So we wanted to facilitate the understanding of how this process would be accomplished. The community is a new concept that we introduced. So we wanted users to be able to leverage others' knowledge and be able to share information with each other, with people that have similar goals. Since the first impression assessment is so important for citizen developers, as we found out in our research, we also wanted to take a look at the first few steps where the user logs in and sets up his application to make this as seamless as possible. Since citizen developers are people that deal with a lot of data in their day-to-day work, we also decided to create an area for how they actually interact with the data and how we could facilitate this process. We also finally looked into the help and documentation. Since this is a really complex application, we expect that people will need some help once in a while. So we wanted to avoid the sea of text that is not helpful in regular help and documentation, so we wanted to redesign that too. Right now, we're going to show you a demo of our full product. so you could understand what our final design looks like. After that, I'm going to briefly go through our process and justify some of our design decisions. The use case for our demo is similar to Luis' use case. So we asked our users to create an application to manage their financial expenses.
Hi, we are going to share with you the design of the new Service Studio, which is a product of a year-long exploration in the domain of end-user programming and in understanding citizen developers. So let's take a look at how Luis, a citizen developer, takes the task of managing his company's expenses, which is currently in an Excel sheet. He tries to do so by creating an application. As soon as Luis logs into the new Service Studio, he is presented with a brief video tutorial that helps him understand the new paradigms and the workings of the development environment. Luis can go to the existing apps section to find apps within his organization which he has access to. Later, all the apps that he creates will also be available here. To create a new app, Luis can choose from a library of pre-existing templates from various domains or create an app from scratch. To begin with, he is presented with a simple app setup that allows him to define basic settings of the app. After this, he is presented with a clean workspace. He has access to a library with different page templates and data group. Luis prefers to have some guidance rather than having to think about what he should do next, so the system prompts him to import his data and create a data group. Once the data is imported, he can create data queries which allow him to manipulate his data easily so he can use them in his app's interface. The system leverages Luis's familiarity with Excel and presents his data in tabular form. Luis then goes ahead and creates a dashboard page to display the overall summary of expenses in his company. He uses various user interface elements from the library, like text, images, and form elements. He then uses the properties panel to customize them. To display his data, he uses data views like pie chart, bar graph, and table, which he then customizes as per his needs. The new Service Studio also allows Luis to create a page where he can view his data directly from a data query. And as he moves through the workflow, he can create a page for editing the data using the contextual menu. This accelerates the process of creating the app. The errors, if there are any, show up at the top bar. Luis can click on them to see where exactly they are and fix them. All of the interface pages, along with the data groups and the app, can be seen in the overview and can be accessed via tabs. He also notices that he can see the relations between data and various interface pages in the overview, which helps him understand the overall structure of the app. Luis can also seek information and help about what he is doing in the Resource Center. Once he is happy with his app, he can publish it. And that's how Luis successfully completes his task by creating an app in Service Studio.
Okay, so let's backtrack to the beginning of the semester and try to explain a little bit how we got here. So after all of the research, we had some ideas and we decided to start with something that we call the design sprint. The first step of this was all of us individually, we sketched out what our vision was for each area. We put it up in a board, we did post-it notes to communicate with each other what our thoughts were about each other's ideas. We Then spent some time fleshing out and agreeing on what our decision for that area was. And we sketched it out on a board, and we did this process for every single area that I mentioned previously. In the end of this, we were prepared to move into the next phase, that was to start doing the actual wireframes for the whole system. At this point, since we knew that citizen developers deal with a lot of data in an interface, we decided to retain the split between data and interface that Service Studio currently has. We used the wireframes to build a paper prototype that we then tested out with some users that were, again, close to the citizen developer profile in the sense that they were expert in their own areas, but they were not experts into programming or IT. So in this case, we use a really simple use case of just creating a phone book, since our idea was to actually validate our overall understanding of the system and if that was matching with our users. We got a lot of valuable feedback in this phase too, and we were able to move on into the next phase. There were some major changes happening at this point. We discovered from our user tests that the split between data and interface did not make sense with our users. So we decided to change things a little bit, and we went with an overall tab that we called an overview, where users our users can see both the interface and their databases at the same time. Then they can use the tabular navigation to have either the pages or the databases that are relevant to the task that they're doing at the time. At this point, we kept fleshing out our concept for the resource center too. At this user test, the phase of user tests at this point, we created a click-through prototype with those mocks, and we used the use case already similar to Ligia's use case, where people created an app to manage their finance expenses. We got a lot of valuable feedback from that, and we decided to do a collaborative ideation with the client. What we decided to do was we gathered all of our user notes. You can see all of them here. We grouped them through affinity diagramming, and we did labels, so it was easy to skim all the information. We brought the client in, we went through all the data that we have on the wall. This is only a third of the wall, just to point it out. And we were able to flesh out what their concerns were about the project and what ideas they had, how to solve specific user problems that we encountered in our user tests. And with all of this, we were prepared to move into phase 3. For our phase 3, we already have something that you can see that is really close to what we could show in the demo. So at this point, we introduced our concept for error management. We also decided to start anticipating the user needs as much as possible. So that little prompt that you could see in the beginning of the app in the demo that asks the user to import the application, the data, it was something that we discovered that if there's a blank canvas in front of the user, they're not sure what to do first. So we decided to have these little accelerators to help people know exactly what they could do next. With these mocks, we built a partially functioning prototype that we tested again. And this time, we tested it out with actual citizen developers. We kept the use case of Luigi to make things simple. These were our citizen developers. We tested it out with people from sales, finance, and human resources. We also decided to test with João, a software development, an expert in the current Service Studio, so we could address some scalability concerns. There was a lot of testings, a lot of findings, so what was our takeaway from all this process? So first, we would like to talk about 2 points that we wished we had a little more time to explore. So since we know that our citizen developers are data intensive and they're expert Excel users usually, they had some expectations on what Service Studio is capable of doing and how to actually interact with Service Studio that were really close to what Excel does. So we believe this is a watch out for OutSystems in the future. We were able to confirm that we have really strong concepts and design ideas. For example, the Resource Center was a really hit with most of our users. Everyone really liked how we designed the resource center and also the accelerators. So things like the contextual menu, for example, made it really easy for the users to know exactly where to look for actions. We also discovered that the learnability of our design is fairly simple. Users would try a couple of things, and after that, they knew exactly what to expect next. So the curve was really simple. We also discovered that the mental model of the citizen developer were quite in match with what we were designing. So we think this was successful. So now we're gonna give a quick live demo of our prototype. So we're gonna imagine that Louis decided to not start with the data and he clicked on later. So he would just drag and drop his page, name it something that is relevant for his work. Yes, dashboard. He can open it and he could just start dragging and dropping elements into it. He could drag and drop text or images, and he would be able to use the properties panel to customize all of these elements. When he's happy with the layout, he could just go back to the overview and drag his data group to be able to import the data. If he clicks it, there's a data source that allows him to go through the process that you could see in the demo. In this case, Chris, is just importing the Excel file, but he would be able to link with other sources. So he had a prompt letting him know that he could see the data source there, and here he could do the data queries to be able to prepare the data. And that is it. So what's next? Next, we pass it along to OutSystems for further development and implementation, and we would like, we would like to thank OutSystems for this project. It was an awesome opportunity, and we would like to end with a little quick video.
They made really great job that will really bring a lot to us. We had so many good ideas that we want to really incorporate in our product. So we will try to do everything to make their ideas come true and we put them in the product.
Thank you so much for your time.
And now we are open for questions.
So, quick question. You keep talking about citizen developers. Do you really think this is for citizens or more for business developers?
It's just the name.
Yeah, it's an industry term that has been coined to address that kind of people. So when it says citizen developer, it doesn't actually mean each and every citizen. There is a specific group of users who are business people. I wish they would have called it business developers instead of citizen developers, but that's out of our control.
But the question was to understand why this, because I was there in the beginning when you came up with this idea of citizen developers. But the way the project evolved is much more towards the business developers, which was okay. It's what we expected. But I wonder why did this name stay? So does it have some kind of value for the client?
The citizen developer was part of the brief. So part of our process during research was to actually understand who citizen developers were. So that's why in the beginning we were not sure if it was for everyone or not. This is part of the brief that we understood, that citizen developers are actually business executives with the profile that we were describing.
Okay, the other thing is that how do you see these things? Because I was talking with Olivia, you also confirmed what you just showed them. They liked it. Actually, I think it's a great capstone, and I've already told you in the rehearsal. But how hard do you think it's going to be to integrate these things into the product? If you can answer this question.
So I don't think that question is for us. Right there. We're gonna do our best about it. So what we talked about that in the break, in the end of our research, and what we all agreed on was that let's just have the ideal scenario of what it could look like, and then it would be on their part to break it down and slowly move and do the transition into something more like that. We had total freedom
to
Yeah.
just do that.
And yeah, we would also like to thank our systems team for being excellent collaborators
Yes.
and giving us the freedom of ripping up their existing design,
Yes.
which is something you usually don't get from a client, but that was really helpful and that helped our process a lot of exploring new ideas. And we hope that our ideas could contribute to the development of the existing product in the future.
Questions? Questions, comments? No? Sure?
Hi everyone. Before we start, we have a small video for you to spark your curiosity. So, hello, we are Team Spark, and this is our Capstone presentation. We are proud to be sponsored by Wow Systems. It's a small development house located here in Madeira. They have award-winning apps in the App Store. They do interactive installations. And we were talking with our client at the beginning of January this year. And, oh, sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. So, my name is Alejandro. This is Andre, Trixie, and Rui. And I'm going to talk about the project brief. As I was saying, we were talking with Wow Systems in the beginning of the year, and they came with us with this idea of having a social application where people could learn about themselves, they could be inspired towards positive activities, and they could express their feelings and experiences to others. So the whole goal of this idea for an application, a mobile application preferably, would be to foster well-being. It was a very broad brief. But together with them, we tried to narrow it down a little bit, and we tried to focus on these three basic principles that we have underpinning our project. So the first one is to focus on social impact, do something that matters. Leverage existing technologies rather than focus on future possible technologies. So, for example, the use of smartphones was something that we decided on. And have something that is inspiring rather than authoritative. And together with our client also, we came up with our North Star for guiding our design and research processes. And I want to read it out loud because it's very important. It's this is called our hunt statement. So we want to study how people's routines and social networking behaviors relate to their emotional states in order to design a solution that promotes their daily mental well-being using technology. So I'm going to recap the research phase for those of you who didn't get the chance to see the presentation in the end of the spring. This is talking about the first semester in which we were involved in this project, which was from January to May this year. We read some research papers, both from the scientific literature in HCI and from popular magazines. We did expert interviews with experts in the fields of human-computer interaction, psychology, psychiatry, and others. We did a competitive analysis, so we looked at 25, roughly, apps in the space of mood tracking and well-being and recording experiences and so on. We compared what exists out there so that we could stand on some solid ground to move forward with our idea. We had a survey that was responded by 140 people all over the world, where we examined the attitudes that people have towards technology and towards social connection using technology. So I want to share what we learned from that research period. It's really difficult to make a concise summary, but I'm going to do my best. So in the social network element, the social network aspect of the project, we found that people log into social networks to share life experiences. They log in to learn from others, and this is a positive thing. This fosters the well-being, or can foster the well-being. But it also comes with some downsides. So, for example, it's very easy to fall into the trap of oversharing or trying to care too much about the things that you post, so that your identity in the social network is not your real identity. It doesn't match. So it can promote having a false self-image to others, and we want to be careful with that because this is an app that we target towards well-being. And also, it can encourage judgment of other people when you're using social networks. So we want to be clear about the advantages of having a social application, because there are many, but we also want to be careful. In regards to recording experiences, we learned that having a record of our day-to-day lives can lead to a better understanding of our struggles and to better mental growth. But at the same time, you cannot focus only on the negative things. If you're going to record your experiences, you should be recording everything and not focusing too much on the negative side of things. And there's an opportunity to go beyond writing and use other kinds of media like pictures and video and so on. For advice and suggestions, so when people reach out and look for advice, especially in technological tools, it's most helpful to give them advice about doing social activities, getting out there, being in contact with the outdoors, not so much personal advice, but kind of things that we know that make us all happy, that researchers agree that make us happy, and breaking from the routine, because a lot of people complain that they're stuck somewhere, they are in a period of their lives where everything feels repetitive, and having this break from the routine is a huge relief for them. At the same time, advice should be discreet. It should be non-obtrusive. It should not feel like advice. You don't want something to think that you're giving them medical advice or any of the sorts. This is going to be a lightweight kind of way of getting into your life and making it better by using very, very simple things. So with all this in mind, we did an ideation process to generate ideas. we came up with this idea of promoting people to engage in daily challenges. And right away, after we had this idea, the ending of the semester was marked by our concept probe. So we tried to prototype the experience. How would people feel like if they were immersed in a community where they would be participating in daily challenges? So what we did, we grabbed people from all over the world, not literally, but almost. And we sent them daily challenges for 17 days. There were 20 participants from all over the world, as I said. And we asked them, and we sent them emails every day, reminding them of an activity or suggesting an activity to them. And they posted their participations online. Some of them were pictures, some of them were text, and examples of activities that we encouraged them to do. In the social, for example, social connection. So surprise someone with their favorite snack. They would get this challenge early in the morning, for example, and they would do it, and we would post it online. In being active, take a picture of something that looks like something else, so that you could go out and actually actively look for things. Thinking creatively, like sketch something on a napkin and taking a picture of it. What we learned from this, people were really inspired by other people's participations. Even when they didn't have a clear idea of what to do with the challenge, when they looked at the blog and when they looked at other people's participations, they felt inspired. They enjoyed the surprise element in the routine. And they engaged in creative activities which they told us they wouldn't otherwise have engaged in. They connected with the exterior, with the outdoors a lot. This is the highlights of people's experiences during this study. It was very beautiful. And now I'm going to talk about the design phase, which follows up immediately after this. We had summer break, but we came back, and our goal was to have this idea of the community and daily challenges and make it into a concrete product. So I'm going to talk about concept definition, paper prototypes, and 2 rounds of interactive prototypes. This is a design process we followed in order to get a usable and useful application out of this. So, concept definition. In HCI, we tend to involve people in every step of the way. So what we did was a technique called speed dating, where we had 10 people from MITI, and we explained using storyboards so that people could empathize with the different scenarios where they could see themselves using the app. We tried to explain different features that the app would have. Like, for example, what about having a sponsored challenge, or what about having the ability to create a new challenge, and so on. So we exposed people to these ideas, and we got rapid feedback from them. So this is what we came up with. This is what we decided on based on these feedback and discussions together with the client and among ourselves. We decided to have 1 challenge per day. People would be encouraged to do just 1 thing per day. Keep it simple, keep it fast. Where they could see entries from the past for self-reflection, where they could see entries from other participants to encourage them to see around the world and engage in a cultural exchange, which they told us they enjoyed very much. And to involve them in the creative process of creating and voting for challenges for the future. We also based our concept in these 2 core concepts. One of them was anonymity, and this means that participations are posted anonymously. There's no central place where you can see all your participations, or you can look up someone else's participations. Their interactions are very limited, and we did this on purpose because we want people to focus on the day, on the present, and we don't want to start a quest for likes or a quest for who comments best, who has the best picture. It's not a competition. It's something that hopefully will elevate you. And we also had the 24-hour cycle concept. It's a bit tricky to explain, but if you vary the challenge every 24 hours, people will get the same challenge, the challenge of the day consistently at the same time every day. And some people that we did the study with were complaining that, people specifically from the Philippines, which was one of the first time zones that had the challenge, they say, this is very nice, but I would like to see what other people have posted before I post, because I usually post in the morning and I don't get the chance to see other people doing stuff too. So to solve this, we did this twist where people get the new challenge 1 day, 1 hour later every day. So it also adds a little bit more variety to the routine, and this is also nice. So we're going to define our target audience here. We can look at people in 2 different dimensions. So how active they are in social media, ranging from the people that they don't have a Facebook account, they hate Facebook, and so on, and people that are glued to their phones, posting online all the time, and people, how they vary in their lifestyles. Do they have a very fixed routine? Do they have a lot of constraints, or do they seek out different experiences and do different things all the time? So we had, there's a bit of lag. So in these 2 quadrants on the left, these are people that are more with a fixed routine. Here on the upper left, there's a person that is active in social media, but not it's part of his routine. So checking Facebook maybe is part of his routine. And here we have a guy in the bottom left that maybe is a couch potato and wants to have, he has a fixed routine, but doesn't engage in social media much. And here we have the opposites, right? So the overeager person that always is posting and having a very active social life and wants you to know about it. And the person that has a very that lifestyle but doesn't care too much about posting. So what we want to do here, we want to cater to all kinds of people here, but specifically want to move people that are on the horizontal axis on the left side. So they are less varied in their lifestyles. We want to move them a bit to the right. We don't care too much about if they want to increase their social media presence or not. We're not getting to that. We just want to make their lifestyles more varied and hopefully their lives more interesting, more inspiring somehow. So I'm going to discuss what we did with this idea. We moved on to the paper prototype phase. We had these 3 metaphors that we came up with. I'm going to explain them very briefly. And we had 3 variations of possible interfaces that we might have. We sketched them out on paper, and we played Wizard of Oz with 10 participants too. So Wizard of Oz is a technique that we use in human-computer interaction, where you simulate, or the person that's doing the project simulates the computer while you move stuff on paper. This is very useful because it's very easy to prototype. Nothing is easier than doodling and having a very rough sketch of how your interface might look like. You don't have to implement, you don't have to do any complex stuff. And you simulate the whole experience. Of course, you're never going to be as fast as a machine, but it's a start. And so we had, I'm going to discuss very briefly these 3 metaphors. So we had the thread metaphor, which would represent a ball of yarn as the passage of time and had a horizontal navigation model. We had the atlas concept, which had a more of a tab interface and had a map where people could select the area where they wanted to locate specific entries from people. And we had the sunrise and sunset. This was a prototype with a vertical navigation model, and it has some aesthetic elements like gradients and so on. It's all very low fidelity because it's purposely done on paper with low fidelity. We had hour-long interviews and think alouds with 14 participants. And I'm going to discuss what we learned in order to make our first interactive prototype, which is the next phase. First, we came up with this time-based home screen. So the first screen that you see on the app, we knew that it should show how much time you have left to do the challenge. It should show a clear call to action that is taking the picture. And for example, here, take a picture of something that smells good. That's the call to action. That is the challenge of the day. Then we also decided to include the map interface. People really react positively to this. We also decided to restrict the past to only 1 day in the past so that people would focus on the present. And we had a vertical navigation model, as I said. So for getting from one script to the other, you just swipe up and down. This is what it looked like. We had this interactive prototype. We traveled to Helsinki, to Stockholm, and to Lisbon to gather real user feedback. We went out to the streets and we interviewed people. in a very spontaneous way. So yeah, this is interviewing a user. I'm going to discuss what we learned from those interviews right away because this is the last stage. This is the second interactive prototype. What we learned, and then I'm going to give you a demo of how it looks and how it feels like. So we learned that we improved the navigation. It's way clearer now that there are more clues that weren't obvious to us when we started the project. It's easier. It was easy for us to recognize the elements because we've been working on this for so long. But for most people, when you just show them the screens, it wasn't very intuitive. Especially getting from one screen to the other wasn't very intuitive. So we improved that. We decided to go with a horizontal timeline instead of vertical, so that it matches, it better matches the mental model that people have, that the past is on the left side and the future is on the right side. So here, if you swipe to the right, or if you go to the left, you're going to the past. And we improved the feedback. We had more animations, more colorful interactions, more and better feedback. And this is how it looked like. Now, we had 10 think-alouds and interview sessions around Meeting, and we had a final consolidation process of all these this user feedback to make it into the final version, which I'm going to display now. Right. So as you can see, yeah, it's working. So this is how the interface looks like. This is the first screen that you can see. It's a clear call to action. Take a photo of something that smells good. You have the amount of time left. And then I'm going to swipe to see other challenges from the past. This is yesterday's. Big pictures of the green. That's a picture I took of green apples. And more challenges. Here, for example, I missed this challenge. I'm going to give a message to the user that you missed it, but you can participate in others. And then I can, if I go all the way back to the past, I can see a log of my participations. So you have a limited number of days that you can go back to see everyone's participations, but you can see your log from day one, from the day you start. So you can reflect back on the things that you did. So here's a picture of time where I was at the beach. You can see a detail of that. I'll go back, and then here I'm going to see participations from other people in this particular time, taking a picture of something that's not good. So I have people from Merida, Venezuela. We have people from Croatia, and varied pictures of things that people think that smell good. We had some funny ones too, especially in the concept world that we have. And here I'm using my computer went to sleep. See? Yeah. We really need HCI in this domain, for sure. Well, I can show you, like, there's not a lot of people, so hopefully you'll be able to see my home screen. Martha's Law, right? So here, what's that?
Oh, you switched off to
Yeah, it's probably gonna crash again, so.
Do you have an iPhone 6 Plus?
No, I don't. Unfortunately, it's a very tiny iPhone 5. You see here, or not, but I can show you later. When you move the map, you see participations from, for example, the United States, and Sweden, and so on. You see there's a grid of images here. You can also go up, and here you can vote for challenges that you wish you want to do for the future days. So if you like, for example, taking a walk near water and sharing your favorite moment, I'm going to vote for that one by swiping to the right. And then there's another one that says, sing a song to a friend and take a picture of their reaction. And I don't want to sing with a friend, so I'll just slide it to the other side to vote it down. And in the end, I'm going to participate in something that smells good. That's a challenge for the day. I'm going to take a picture of these beautiful flowers. Use the photo, and it's recorded as my challenge, of my entry in the challenge of the day. It will appear in other people's feeds too. So now I'm going to switch source. So thank you. Thanks to our sponsors. Thank you for being here. Yeah, we're open for questions, by the way.
Right. So first of all, I would like to congratulate you. I think you did great work. I think the brief was also very interesting, so I would like to congratulate also the team. I think it's really timely. You see what HI in a way is moving more beyond efficiency, and it's actually going to increasing the ability to improve human life. So I think this is a really nice project. The concern that I have is that this is not only a problem. We always had it. These projects, these prototypes are very interesting. What happens often is that people lose interest after some time, and there is a curious problem.
Mm-hmm.
So have you thought about this? And do you see any potential strategies for battling this?
Yeah, so this is basically the engagement problem. When you have something that its primary use is to improve people's lives and to make their lives better and so on, it's also supposed to be a little bit, engaging. And we're always debating between making it more engaging but more competitive in a way, because when people are competing against each other, people engage more in things. But we also don't want to fall into that because we don't want to encourage unhealthy competition. So there's a trade-off there, and there are elements, like for example, when we chose to include the map and to let people select what they wanted to see from the world, we hope that this makes the app a lot more engaging by catering to the specific interest. If I'm interested, for example, in Indian culture, I can go to India every day and see what people have been posting in a region of India or a different place. And I can satisfy my curiosity by doing that. And if it's that I'm interested in participating with my friends, I can just scour the list until I see my friends' participations or so on. It's difficult to make it both engaging and useful for mental well-being, but it's been our challenge, and I'm sure when the app is out there, we'll have a lot more feedback from users to tell us what we need to improve upon. If it's engagement, then we'll work on that. But yes.
Sorry. Sorry.
So, congratulations on your very next project. As I told you, I would love to be a participant. I was just wondering, how did you come up to the daily challenges? Because they're very creative, they're interesting, so whether something that smells good, How come you come up to this?
Oh, with the list, you mean the Lisa challenge?
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, you want to say something?
I was a brainstorming session with the entire group that was ongoing throughout the semesters. So we always got together and kind of did brainstorming of what could be fun to do, and then we choose them based on what may lead people to do, not just it's fun, but okay, so something that smells good. Perhaps they're gonna go out into the world and going to connect more to see what smells good. So we always think about what they're going to do in order to accomplish that challenge and what that can bring to them in terms of mental well-being.
And there's also a last question. So each of the days had a different challenge, because you mentioned something about taking the challenges, or were some being repeated?
Well, the idea is that every challenge will be unique, at least for a reasonable amount of time, for maybe, I don't know, 100 days or a year or so, so that people that are actively participating don't feel like that they are going to participate in the same challenge. But sometimes it could be nice to do the same challenge or a slight variation of the same challenge. So it all depends on. I think one of our starting points for choosing the challenges was we read a report. It was very helpful by the New Economics Foundation about what makes people happy and what makes it for well-being. And you know, some of the activities that were there, like they were very broad and very high level, but going out into nature, connecting with local community, stuff like that. We tried to have activities that touch on those things, maybe not necessarily strictly go out and do something. But for example, as Rui said, something that smells good might prompt you to go to the woods and take a picture of a flower or something else. That was the reason why.
We did another thing, just to explain more. We did another thing, which was to classify the challenges in 3 types. And all of those challenges fell into those 3 types, which were social connection. So sharing that moment with someone else. Another one was outdoor activities, so in doing something outside, connecting with the exterior. And the other one was creative or introspective activities, where you not necessarily are with anyone, or you can be in your house, you're creating something in your mind, so you come up with something on your own. And these were based on our research with experts and papers on what brought people a better mental well-being, what activities could potentially bring them better mental well-being.
Thank you.
Hey guys, I usually never talk. I'm a very quiet guy. I'll make an exception today. To say that I really loved your approach, from the analysis to the design to the testing. I think the ultimate test for this is going to be market acceptance. We have a few ideas about the distribution of that. But I really think that, one, this is a very tough domain. It's much more challenging than it seems at first sight. And secondly, I really want to do something about this in terms of distribution, partnering up, spinning off the spark. I think I have a couple of ideas. So I'll try to catch up with you guys. But in the meantime, congratulations on your work.
First of all, congratulations on a great job. I'm very impressed with all the Capstone presentations today, and yours in particular. And I was curious. I was curious about you mentioning creation of the challenges by the users themselves. Did you think that was not a good idea in the end, or what were your decisions on that one?
Yeah, so people can create challenges. I'm sorry you couldn't see it properly because the demo failed. But yeah, I can show you later. But here, when I was swiping, you know, I was voting for one and the other. Yeah, you can see sort of there. There's a button here that says create your own, and you can go there and just start typing something. The idea would be that a team of people would review that, and they would approve it manually.
So the idea is people create a challenge, and then these are selected to be displayed to other users, and you can vote on them.
And if from the tally of the votes, they might potentially be coming up for the future. So the team in all systems can select from that and choose which one will be in the future. That's how we do it.
That sounds good.
Thank you.
No? No more questions? So since there's no more questions, I just want to thank Spark team, Firecrest team, and Frontier teams for their presentation, and just let you know that we'll be having a toast to our new graduates just outside. Okay, thank you.
It's our favorite, right?